Welcome to the YouTube Advent Hop, which is presented by the Facebook group Live Art Journaling and Self-Development. This is day 10, so if you have not caught day 1 through 9, you need to go to the Facebook group, and there is a link of that down below in the description box so you can catch those first 9 videos. Welcome aboard! I'm glad to have you in the studio today. Well, I'm so excited to get started on this with you. I have got these blanks, which I am going to make into some Christmas tree ornaments. So the first thing I'm going to start with is some old book text, and I thought it'd be fun to do some decoupaging onto these blanks using that paper. So that's where I'm going to get started. Now I'm going to do a simple cut around these because I am going to come in with some sandpaper to get that edge crisp and nice coming off of it. Here I'm just using an old credit card to just pull out the air pockets and get some of the excess of that matte medium gel off of. Now I'm going to simply just repeat that process for the back side. So now I'm going to come in with some distress ink and go around the edges and kind of rub it out a little bit, get some nice contrast between the two different colors. Now here I have some of my dimensional pieces that I'm going to use, and I have put some black gesso on most of them. There are a couple left that I haven't done so I'm going to get that taken care of because I plan on using some waxes on these as we go, and those waxes really pop when you have them against the black gesso. I have some really fun, this is jute burlap, and I've cut some out and frayed some of the edges. So I'm going to get that put down with some heavy body gel. All the supplies that I've used are all listed below in the description. You can see I'm struggling here to get this rooster. It has a wire at the bottom, and I thought I could slide it up through the burlap. It just took me a bit to get in there, on there. But like I like to kind of lay out pieces first and get an idea about where I'm gonna put them. But this one, I really kind of had an idea to begin with, so I went ahead and got that stuck down. So you'll see I'm gonna do a lot of playing with where things are gonna go throughout the whole process from here. Really, it's just kind of like a little give, a little take. So I am starting with the larger pieces and figuring out where I want those to go first. So I've pulled out a quote from the Christmas book that I'm going to use in the frame, and I'm going to get that adhered to the frame and then go about the process of getting it adhered to the Christmas ornament. I'm going to use some cardboard just to lift it up in areas because of the unevenness of the burlap. got here are some pieces from a pine cone that I've cut off, and I'm just gonna kind of shimmy them in around the frame. They're a very unusual kind of element, and I thought they looked really nice and rustic to add to this kind of country-ish theme ornament. And now I'm going to get some of those added to the other ornaments and try and put together some compositions on the front of them a little bit more solidified. Now these little circular elements, they're gears and they're just wood cutouts. All right, I'm getting ready to add some waxes to this frame, and I want to protect what's underneath. So I've cut out a slip of paper and just kind of squeezed it in there so I don't get any of that wax on the quote that I have in that frame. And I'm using some of the Finnabair wax, and this is, oh, let's see, what color was this? This is their bright red amber is that color, and I'm just using it over the frame. That black gesso, it has some tooth to it, so it does grab it. Now on the frame I knew it was going to be kind of all over and there wasn't going to be a lot of texture, but on that grunge board hinge there was a harlequin type of texture to it, and it was going to catch all the places. And I have a brush that is dedicated to waxes. I only use it with the waxes because wax is resistant and it has to be your last coat. So to get into the tiny spots that I've kind of covered up with that hinge, I'm just using that brush to get in all those little places. And I think what I ended up doing is I go in with the Opal Magic wax in the vintage silk on the hinge just to get that a little bit of a different color going on there, more of a metallic, traditional kind of metallic look. And you can really see here how those waxes, especially with a really highly textured item, can really make it pop. And now I'm going to get that gear, some wax on that gear as well, and I'm going with the Lucky Emerald on the gears. And I am going to adhere that with the Finnabair Heavy Body Gel, which is a little bit of overkill, but it's alright. I decided I was going to go ahead and get that glass blob added, but I decided to hold off and let that wax really dry before I tried to get those adhered on. Now, I have been doing a lot of futzing with these plastic pine boughs or branches, and I'm finally going to get this adhered. Now I'm clipping off some of them to make it easier to glue down to the surface of that burlap, and of course on this one I am going to be using the heavy body gel. It's just really needed for this kind of tricky element that doesn't want to necessarily adhere very well, but I'm pulling out my trusty clothespins to hold that down in place. I'm going to set that to the side and let it dry while I work on another one of the tags. Now here I've added a little bit of the threads off of the burlap. I've added some bells to that, and I'm using my E6000 to adhere the glass blob, and it's important, I think, to do that because that wax is on there, and I want to use something that is like cement, you know, really strong. So that's why I went with the E6000 for that glass blob. Plus it has a lot of weight to it. Now I've taken a few more of those strands of the burlap and tied them together, and I'm just using a little of that heavy body gel to stick the fibers of that together so that I can get that threaded through those small bells. And then I'm going to get those adhered to the ornament, and I'm pulling out some ribbon. I'm going to make some bows, this kind of country themed ribbon, and create some bows. Now on this one I'm tying the bells through it so they dangle in front of the ornament, but just a simple bow. Want to be entered to win a prize? Then subscribe to this page if you haven't. Give it a thumbs up, make a comment before heading over to the group. We have some exciting prizes to be announced at the end of the hop, and those chosen will be those who subscribe, like, and comment to all the videos.